Well, hey there, welcome to the church video series and this lesson as we continue through our storytelling section, arriving at the third component of every great story, and that is plot. Obviously, every story has a plot, no matter how basic, but what comprises a great plot? What makes a plot so good that it causes the audience to stir inside, to be moved, and maybe even to take action? What elements would that require? Well, I believe that there are two elements of every great plot that will set your story and your video up for success. And let's explore those two elements now. Element number one, a personal story. Facts are facts. They're sterile and stagnant. And while facts may be useful in proving something intellectually, rarely are they going to move someone emotionally to take action or be stirred in any way. You may have heard this statement, you're never going to be able to argue someone into the kingdom of God. And this is a statement that basically explains that when you're sharing the gospel with someone, the wrong way to do it is to present a bunch of empirical evidence and disprove the other person's false beliefs. And the reason for this is because for most people, emotion is what's driving decisions and being convinced, not empirical evidence or a bunch of statistics. And because of that, in each one of our videos, we should have a personal story that is talking about testimony and someone's own account, because that's what's going to drive emotion rather than, like I said, statistics. So in your next video, share an anecdote, share a part of your life, because when you do that, you transform yourself from a two-dimensional talking head on a screen into a three-dimensional character, a real person with a future and a past and a present, and you have hopes and vulnerabilities. And when you become a real person, then you become a character that your audience can actually connect with. You've probably noticed that pastors often begin their messages and intersperse their messages with stories, personal accounts, stories from friends, because these are the things that draw audiences in. And once you have that, then you can take the next step, and that is element number two. Element number two, conflict. Every great story needs conflict, something that has to be overcome. This is why the Bible talks on multiple occasions about the power of testimony, about sharing our own personal story, because each personal story has some element of conflict that had to be overcome. And that's why I love shooting baptism videos so much, because the conflict is already there and the story is already written for us. And so it's my job just to put that on a screen. But don't worry, you don't need to be having a very complex or emotional or deep story to have a sort of conflict. Let's look at a very, very simple video, short, very, very basic, and we can see the elements of conflict within it. The video that I'm talking about is called Spelling Father. It's written and scripted by Marshall Davis Jones and filmed by Stillmotion. It's about 2 to 3 minutes long, so let's take a look at it now.
Last night, I had the most interesting dream. In it, I was 6 years old in a national spelling bee. Genius. Complex words like serendipity, duodenum, phloxanoxin, and hilipilification, all spelled correctly, up until the final round. One word between me and victory. The spellmaster clears his throat. Young man, your word is father. The crowd began to chatter amongst themselves, seemingly displeased at the simplicity of this final word. So I searched the audience for those eyes that say everything's gonna be okay. Just do it. I realized I dazed off. Young man, your word is father. So I stood up straight, licked my lips, and began. Father. M-O-T-H-E-R. Father. The spellmaster looks at me. He looks back at his flashcard, then back at me and says, I'm sorry, but you're incorrect. Well, I don't think he understands. You see, my father is sitting right in the audience. Excuse me? I'm sorry, son, but you are incorrect. Well, then you, sir, can save your sorry apologies, because you must mean incorrect as within the box of being right. Let me explain something to you, because obviously you ain't grow up where papas are rolling stones down the hills of women's backsides, and when he is gone, all he's left us is alone, where minstrel men stroll around on bikes, and fathers balance their menstrual, 2 jobs, 2 kids, and a life on a unicycle, and it looks something like this: breastfeeding with one arm, phone on the shoulder, cooking with one arm, cleaning with one leg, tying sneakers with their teeth. Young fathers who make mistakes because we are not all perfect. But the one mistake they never make is abandoning their seeds. You see, fathers are master gardeners. They tend to every leaf, removing the weeds, placing us in the windows of opportunity so that we can lean towards the sun and never forget that the sky is the limit, planting kisses on our cheeks, hugs on our backs, growing their love on us the best way they know how. Like my father walked a daily nightmare so that I can live my dreams. My father watered me with blood, sweat, and tears in hopes that I'd be ripe for the harvest. And I hope that one day I'll be as great of a father as she was for me. You did not ask me to spell deadbeat, sir. But if you'd like deadbeat, here it is. FATHERDADDY-POPPOPS. If you like the slang, you asked me to spell father. And where I am from, in my life, father is, always has been, and always will be spelled M-O-T-H-E-R. So open your encyclopedias. Show me your flashcards. Open your dictionaries. Because what Webster says means nothing around here. Around here, my father's sitting right there. And I love her.
You'll notice that the cinematography for this video is very simple within itself. There's only a couple different angles, there's only one location, and so it's very, very basic, nothing too complex. And that's because the focus of this video is the content, the plot. Marshall Davis Jones starts the video with a personal story, and that's what draws you in. It gets you caring about him, it gets you caring about the video, and you become committed to watching the rest of the video. And once he's introduced you to that, once he's drawn you in, once he's got you, then he brings in the conflict. And in this video, his conflict is with the spelling of the word father. And once he brings in that conflict, that's when he adds his purpose, his point, and his thesis for the whole video. And we're gonna leave you hanging a bit right there because that's what our next video is about, the fourth and final element of every great story, the thesis, the main purpose. And that's going to be talked about in the final video, the final lesson of this section on storytelling, in the next lesson of the church video series called Thesis. So thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in the next lesson.